You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Show Before the Show podcast, the official podcast of minor league baseball. My name is Tyler Mon, and in New York City, we have one Benjamin Hill.
Yep, just one Benjamin Hill.
That is all.
That is all. Just one, anyone, just me. One is the loneliest number. And
you have to shoulder this burden alone. You have been abandoned, essentially, just left to rot by slimy Sam Dykstra.
Yeah, we call it Sam Abandonment. He is off in Florida covering the Grapefruit League. Even today, it's like, I don't want to make it this dramatic, but if you break up with someone, you don't want to see like pictures of them, on Facebook or whatever. Sam's gone, and yet on the TVs in the office, there he is, wearing his nice little polo MLB Network shirt, doing reports right from spring training, talking about Spring Breakout, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, but look at who you left behind, Sam.
Yeah, Sam. Yeah. Do we look like two people happy to be, two legs of a tripod? Two legs of a tripod, it doesn't work, Sam. It falls over. You have to have all three. Thanks.
Yeah. And as you can see, we are on the verge of collapse if we have not fallen already. But somehow we'll get through. I did have, Tyler, because Sam's not here, an anecdote involving Sam.
Yes.
It'd be awkward to tell if he was here sitting next to me, and it's really weird. So just bear with me here.
Okay.
This was in like early 2020. We just moved these new MLB offices, on 51st Street, right across from Radio City. And I had plans that evening in Times Square. I was going to meet some friends at a bar and go see a show at Town Hall. So I was just walking to meet my friends at a bar through the heart of Times Square. And they have those pedestrian plazas now in Times Square. So like traffic's blocked off and just people are walking around everywhere. And they have, costume characters all over the place. You've probably seen it. People dressed as superheroes, as minions, and you can pay a little bit of money and take your picture with these people, with these various costume mascot characters. It's just a feature of Times Square. People hustling, making money, coming to Times Square in costume. So I'm walking through and not paying much attention to all the Times Square hoopla, because I live in New York. I'm not going to be like, oh, look, it's the Incredible Hulk or whatever the case may be. But I see a Mickey and Minnie Mouse about 10, 15 feet ahead of me. And, Times Square mascot etiquette does not exist. They always take their heads off and just have them under the crook of their arms. It's not this kind of like sacred mascot duty to like never reveal the character inside. In Times Square, all bets are off. But I'm walking towards this Mickey and Minnie Mouse. The Minnie Mouse is like a 5 foot tall Mexican woman, middle age. And the Mickey Mouse, I'm getting closer, is Sam Dykstra. I swear to God. So I was
going to jump in a little while ago and say, I know this is not where this is going, but I really wish that Sam would be in one of those costumes. Sam was in one of those costumes?
Yeah, so he sees me, see him. It has this like second of panic, puts the Mickey Mouse head back on, and I walk over. I'm like, Sam. And of course, now he's Mickey Mouse. He can't talk. And, he's just like gesturing. And then he starts gesturing along with Minnie towards like written on cardboard, like, pictures, $10, trying to act like I'm just another tourist in Times Square. And I'm like, what the hell, Sam? And so I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go through with this until now that I'm in it, I'll be like, all right, I'm going to get a selfie with Mickey and Minnie Mouse because I know that is Sam Dykstra. And I get a selfie with Mickey and Minnie. I'm trying to mumble to him like, Sam, like, what is going on here? And he just points at the sign, like, give me my money, as if he doesn't know me, as if he's not a coworker. It was $10, but I only had a 20. So I just was like, whatever. You can pay me back in the office. And I give him $20. Then the next day, he's in the office, too busy to be bothered, working real hard, typing out blurbs, whatever he is. Sam's like really serious. And I'm like, Sam, like Mickey Mouse? And he just like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, Mickey Mouse? I didn't want to retell the whole story. I just wanted him to admit it that it was him. I was like, Sam, come on, just come clean. This is nothing to be ashamed of. And he looked at me and he said with like the slightest of smiles, thanks for the tip. Meaning I tipped him
What?
$10
You tipped him
on the
100% of the cost.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he said thanks for the tip and smiled as if like, okay, but we're never going to talk about this again.
Wow. And now the story has been aired to literally tens of people on the Show Before the Show podcast. Wow. Huh. I thought he was going to go full on Clark Kent, Superman. Like,
no, just that he had this side hustle. I don't know if he still does it. A COVID hit shortly thereafter.
Right.
But he was like a Times Square Mickey Mouse. And
I didn't 100% true. This story you're telling us is 100%
true story. 100% true. This is why I'm bringing it up now, because I know Sam would not even want me to get into it, but I feel like I have to get this off my chest.
This is incredible. When you started telling, I was like, is this one of those, like, it's kind of like a stand-up comedian story where it's like, okay, maybe it didn't exactly happen that way. But I see the conviction in your eyes. This happened.
Yeah, I've wanted to get off my chest, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's cool.
No, it's a good side hustle. He probably made terrific money there.
Yeah, so I just want him to come clean and just say that's something I used to do. It's cool, man.
Wow. Well, we know what the first topic of conversation for next week's episode of the Show Before the Show podcast is going to be. I'm just going to grill him under the light. I'm going to make you bring in some sort of spotlight that we can shine on to Sam as we dive into. Also, like, why Mickey Mouse? He's the world's biggest Charlie Brown fan.
I don't know. Sometimes it just comes down to maybe costume availability. I'm not sure if he knew the Minnie Mouse or if it was just like, I'm Mickey, you're Minnie. We can work.
They just got paired together that day.
Yeah.
That could be. Like, you go in as like, you're performing in the background of a play. I would imagine you don't interact with, like, you just show up someday and it's like, all right, you guys are going to be the two people having a conversation in the library today. Wow.
Yeah, so it could have been that. I don't know. Maybe that costume was cheaper. I don't know. Yeah, you'd think he'd been like a Charlie. But also,
yeah.
I mean, Times Square. Charlie Brown's a big character, but who has more brand recognition than
that's true.
Mickey Mouse?
That's true. Yeah, they muscled the Schultz people out of Times Square. You can't even get real estate there if you're a Peanuts character. You can only be Mickey or Minnie Mouse related.
Yeah, they don't want a bunch of sad sacks going through existential crises. Give me the pure, unmitigated, unquestioning joy of Mickey Mouse.
I am blown away by this. And we're definitely going to need, maybe we just don't tell Sam about this at all. And you and I create like a serial-esque, like 10-part investigative series into like the origin story of Sam Dykstra working as a Times Square character.
I wish I had told you the story off the air so we could maybe plan
He's a larger. Not listening.
Thing. Okay, so if he doesn't listen and this never comes up,
yeah,
which is possible, then let's explore further. If not, then he'll just have to address it once and for all in the next.
So now we have to wait until next week or until we get a text message. It's like, what are you two idiots talking about on this episode? He's not going to listen. So if next week, if he hasn't brought it up, then we know that he doesn't know, and then we can dive in deeper.
We'll explore further. Yeah. All right, cool.
I like this idea.
We got a chance. This is a good spinoff.
Yeah. There's not a lot of like investigative work that is churned out by the MLB / pipeline / MILB crew. Like, we do a lot of features and we cover news and all that, but there's not a lot of like, here's a deep dive into a mystery. And I think maybe this is where we crack through to like the true, not necessarily true crime, although if Sam was committing crimes, now that we know he's doing all these other things behind the scenes, how deep does this go? We don't know.
Yeah, this could just be one layer of the onion, right? Onions have layers.
Yeah, onions have layers. The more layers you peel, the more it stinks. Well, this is, in my mind, the greatest open that we have ever had in the history of the Show Before the Show podcast, due in no small part to the fact that Sam Dykstra is absent. So as we welcome you into this week's episode, Tyler Mon, Ben Hill, we're going to talk just the two of us. We will hear from Sam / Mickey coming up here in just a little bit. as he is down, as Ben noted, at the Grapefruit League in Florida. Sam will join us with the number 58 overall prospect in baseball, Xavier Isaac, of the Tampa Bay Rays organization. If you see the name, also the name of a university spelled Xavier, how do you say it?
I've always said that just with the straight Z sound, Xavier.
So interestingly, I did those games a couple weeks ago on MLB Network with the man with that first name, last name Scruggs, former big leaguer. And I asked him, I said, how do you say your name? Because I know some people say Xavier, some people say Xavier. And he said, I say Xavier. And actually, I don't feel like anybody has ever really called me Xavier. I was like, really? Because I have a cousin, same name. I've always called him Xavier, although now he goes by like a nickname. So it's not something that I run into that often anymore. But that every time I see that name out in the wild, it gives me like a, oh man, I'm going to say, no matter what, I'm going to say it wrong. So like if, Xavier Isaac has been calling himself Xavier his entire life, I'm going to get it wrong. But anyway, he'll join us with Sam coming up in a little bit. I hope Sam asked him about like costumes that he's worn. The hard hitting questions. But that is not for a little bit. Before that, it is Tyler and Ben time. And Ben, we've got a really cool new initiative out of the Spokane Indians franchise in the Northwest League, a franchise that, as we were talking about this before we started recording, I said, man, Spokane just doesn't miss. Everything Spokane does, from their own actual team branding that they've worked with the Spokane Indian tribe to do, to the Red Band rally that they've done, trying to, save a local species of trout. All of their alternate identities have just been incredible over the years. And they've rolled out a new one that's really, I think, one of the most unique that we've seen in minor league baseball, especially in recent years. Tell us about Spokane's King Carl campaign.
Yeah, the Spokane Indians King Carl campaign is a new promotion, alternate identity that needs some explaining. It has a backstory. It is in honor of Carl Maxey, who was a championship boxer, went undefeated during his career at Gonzaga University, and from there became the first Black man to graduate from their law school, and then went on to a nearly 50-year career as a lawyer, where he was often advocating for civil rights causes on behalf of conscientious objectors. A man who took a stand throughout his whole life, operated out of Spokane, and had a big impact in that city as well. So the team is paying tribute to Carl Maxey with this King Carl identity, King Carl being his nickname when he was a boxer because he went undefeated. But there's a lot more going on there as well, as they're attempting to tell a story. There's all sorts of symbolism in the logo, which was designed by Brandiose. There's some baseball imagery. You see some baseball stitching in the glove. The glove is clenched, kind of like a symbol of resistance or Black Power symbol. The crown on the boxing glove is in the Black History Month colors, and so on and so forth. There's like a lot to unpack here, as they say, in honoring someone that is certainly well known, in certain circles and certainly in the Spokane region, but not the kind of alternate identity that you see. Oh, Spokane's being the King Carls. Of course, that's a tribute to the late Carl Maxey. It's one with quite a lot going on there. And Tyler, like you said, Spokane Indians, they're not a team that is always doing zany stuff, rolling out alternate identity after alternate identity. But when they invest in a certain premise, in a certain campaign, they do tend to go really deep with it, make it very thoughtful. And this one is no exception. And the King Carl campaign is something that had been in the works in a long time. The team had originally talked to an activist in the community named Sandy Williams. And when I spoke to Spokane Indians president, Vice President Otto Klein, he told me, when we reached out to her, she was the foremost leader, the pulse of the Black community. She was uniting everybody in the Black community with this concept in mind. And then tragically, she passed away in a plane accident. We carried this on for Sandy. We carried it on for Carl. A portion of the merchandise that we sell will go to the Sandy Williams Fund for the Carl Maxey Center. That makes it double rewarding. So the team, putting this together, partnered with the Carl Maxey Center, and they also partnered with the Spokane NAACP. And they had a really interesting rollout, and one I can't think of any real precedent for or correlation with in the history of me covering all these promotions and seeing alternate identities rolled out in so many different ways. But the full logo set made its debut in the Black Lens, the local Black-oriented community newspaper, in the Sunday, March 3rd edition. So that is where it debuted first. And then from there, the team put it on its social channels and, continued to tell the story. So again, something that took a long time to put together, has a great backstory behind it, honors a local legend, who's really impactful in the community, Carl Maxey. And there's a lot more they can do with it, I think, as the season goes on, and as the years go on, when they continue this partnership and think of ways that they can, extend his legacy and his impact in the coming years and the coming decades.
You used a word a little bit ago that I think really just hits the nail on the head with Spokane, and that was thoughtful. They just put so much care into all of these. Operation Fly Together was their other one from the last couple of seasons. The Red Band Rally we mentioned, just really amazing stuff from the Spokane Indians, and such a cool way to connect to your community. We talk about all these local promotions and those types of things, and while there is so much to love and value about the local things and the food identities, or stuff that's named after local attractions or whatever it is, to be able to connect with a local community in this way is so important and carries so much weight with it. And kudos to Spokane Indians. They just continue to do things in a much different way than we see a lot of other franchises do it. And what an amazing identity this is. If you do get an opportunity, go check out the Spokane site. They have a breakdown of all the different logo elements in that logo, the boxing glove with the crown on it and clenched in the fist, and there's baseball stitching. There's a feather that's kind of very subtly included in the glove itself. There's the lacing on the glove is in the kind of looks like a CM, to evoke the initials of Carl Maxey. Just a really amazing effort by everybody involved with this one.
Yeah, it's a cool one. And so they'll be doing it twice, tied into, Jackie Robinson Day, and then later on Juneteenth. I'm not sure if it's those exact days, depending on the team is home, but they are, basing the two King Carl nights at the ballpark, around those days on the calendar.
Pretty amazing stuff, and big kudos to Spokane. Big kudos as well to our very own Benjamin Hill, who has been sticking with me through my internet dying 4 times as we have recorded this segment.
I'm always here for you, unlike certain others that we dare not mention.
I was going to say, not all heroes wear capes, but some of them do wear Mickey Mouse costumes in times. All right, we are going to step aside and send it over to our very own friendly Mickey Mouse in Florida. Sam Dykstra will visit with Xavier Isaac, the number 58 overall prospect in baseball, Tampa Bay Rays young talent. And then Josh Jackson swings by with Ghosts of the Miners after we hear a little bit more from Sam. And Ben and I are wrapping up at the finish coming up later on.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey everybody, it's Sam, just hopping in here to explain why I'm not with Tyler and Ben this week. In the normal segments, I've been running around in spring training for both MLB Network and MLB Pipeline. It's been super fun getting one camp a day, seeing all sorts of camps here in Florida. I spent today in Port Charlotte with the Tampa Bay Rays. They are back in Port Charlotte after spending some time in St. Pete and some time in Orlando at the Wide World of Sports at Disney World. But they are back in Port Charlotte after some really nice renovations to the facilities there. I'll be spending tomorrow in Clearwater, Florida, home of the Clearwater Threshers, of course, at the spring training home of the Philadelphia Phillies. So it's a crazy week, lots going on. Lots of running around trying to talk to guys and talk to farm directors and get some stories straight and check in on people. I mean, that's what spring training is. It's so much new is happening. Guys are working on different things, or they're trying to carry some momentum that they developed in 2023, or they're trying to correct some of their mistakes. So it's super informative to be here on the ground, and I love that I'm doing that. That being said, it does sadden me that I wasn't part of the beginning of the podcast with Tyler and Ben, and I just want to set a couple things straight here real quick, right from the jump of my segment. Tyler and Ben, everything they say about minor league baseball and everything they say about baseball in general is absolutely true. Everything they say about me when I'm not on the show with them, lies and slander. Baseball stuff, true. Stuff about Sam when he's not there, lies and slander. All right, now that we got that out of the way, I'm actually coming to you here on Thursday, the day of recording, which is a very exciting day in the world of MLB Pipeline and minor league baseball, because today the spring breakout rosters were revealed. All 30 clubs revealed their rosters today. There was a reveal show that was on MLB Network. I believe you can go watch that back on MLB.com if you want, but we have wall-to-wall coverage on MLB Pipeline of this stuff. I'm talking about roster breakdowns. I'm talking about most notable prospect matchups. I'm talking about most notable team matchups. I'm talking about places to buy tickets if you want to come down to Florida or Arizona to see these games. They're taking place, as we've said in the past, between March 14th and March 17th. So over 4 days, we're going to see basically multiple futures games every day. That's the level of talent we're talking about here, because the big names really are out for this spring breakout roster. You look at who was announced as part of their club's, spring breakout representatives. Jackson Holliday is competing in this. He's the number 1 prospect in the game. I know he's competing for the Orioles' second base job, but for the day on March 14th, they are allowing him to come compete in this spring breakout game. And guess who he's going to face? It's just who we wanted him to face, which is Paul Skeens of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So that's the 2022 first overall pick in Jackson Holliday and the 2023 number 1 overall pick in Paul Skeens of the Pirates. The Orioles and Pirates are going up against each other in Bradenton. This will be the second time these two have seen each other in spring training, but this game will be televised, so I highly recommend checking that out. Should be super fun. I mean, Jackson Holliday talked about facing Paul Skeens and noticing that he was touching 102 and how difficult that is, but now he's seen him, right? Now he knows what the velocity really looks like. Would love to see what happens in a rematch. So that's what we're going to get, but it's not just them. Number 2 overall prospect, Jackson Churio, will be competing for the Brewers. Dylan Cruz, the number 2 overall pick last year and the Golden Spikes winner and LSU champion alongside Paul Skeens, he'll be with the Nationals. The Nationals have a pretty loaded team themselves. James Wood, who's been one of the kings of spring this year, our number 14 overall prospect, but you can expect to see Dylan Cruz and James Wood in the same outfield for the Nats. That's really cool. 17-year-old catcher Ethan Salas of the San Diego Padres. He will be on a Padres team that has multiple players. Jackson Merrill's on the roster for now. I'm really interested to see if he stays on that roster, because I believe the Padres breakout game kind of conflicts with their Korea series, and those games count in Korea. So, if Jackson Merrill is really going to be a part of this major league club just from the get-go, he might not compete in breakout for the best of reasons. That being said, he is here now, so we could get Ethan Salas on the field with Jackson Merrill. Colson Montgomery long has drawn Corey Seager comparisons for the White Sox. He'll be their number 1 prospect competing for Chicago. And Walker Jenkins, who I actually just got to talk to in Minnesota Twins camp, the number 5 overall pick from last year, but absolutely tore the cover off the ball in both the Florida Complex and Florida State leagues last season. Really buttoned up guy at just out of high school. Looked great physically. The Twins were talking about all sorts of great things that they've seen out of him just since he signed, and how he's carried that into his offseason. They had multiple camps to bring prospects in during the offseason. He was there all the time. He's gotten very used to being in Fort Myers and being a professional ball player, and I think that shows. And I think most of his work has been on the backfields, and the Twins have a great player development Twitter account that I highly suggest everybody follow. They've tweeted out some of his at-bats back there, multiple exit velocities above 100 miles an hour. I mean, Walker Jenkins' bat is absolutely playing now, and I'm glad he's getting this chance to show that off now in a bigger setting in spring breakout. The Twins will be going up against the Rays. That's just the top 10 prospects. There are so many top 100 guys included in this list. I believe it's more than 70 who are competing in spring breakout this year. This is just the inaugural version. Like, as we've always said, I'm really excited to see where this grows, but the fact that we're already getting this many top 100 guys is really special. I just want to go through some of those notable matchups that stand out to me, at least from a team by team standpoint. The Orioles at the Pirates on March 14th, like I said, that's going to be kind of must-see television, at least in our world, right? Like getting the chance to see Jackson Holliday go against Paul Skeens. And it's not just Jackson Holliday, Samuel Basayo, Kobe Mayo, those guys are also potentially in the Orioles lineup. So them going up against Paul Skeens, but it's not just Paul Skeens on the pitching side for Pittsburgh either. Anthony Solometo, Bubba Chandler, two more top 100 arms. I mean, both of these teams, their strengths really butt up against each other. The Orioles, it's with bats. The Pirates, it's with arms. So this makes for such a perfect matchup. So again, that's March 14th at 7:05 Eastern time. That game will be on MLB Network, Sportsnet, Pittsburgh, MLB digital platforms. So MLB.com, MLB TV, things of that nature, and ESPN Plus if you're subscribed to that. So just keep an eye out for that one. The Padres at the Mariners. That's my number 2 matchup on March 15th. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern. That will be on MLB Network, Padres.tv, Root Sports, Mariners Radio, SXM app, MLB digital platforms again, and ESPN Plus. What I love about this one is that it's a clash of the complex. Both of these teams play in Peoria. In fact, they do have some history of doing this, where they've basically had a futures game between the two sides. But this one's fully open to the public. You can get tickets for it. You can watch it on TV. I already mentioned Ethan Salas, but Harry Ford will be on the Mariners side. So there's 2 really good catchers from both teams. San Diego put both Robbie Snelling and Dylan Lesko on the roster, and Drew Thorpe. So if you're a big fan of changeups, Lesko and Thorpe have some really, really special ones. Robbie Snelling, one of the most productive pitchers in the minor leagues last season. So give each of those guys an inning. And for the most part, these are 7-inning games. You're already halfway there. I mean, that's really, really special. But Mariners will also be sending their fair share of bats. Cole Young, a shortstop prospect, their top prospect in the system. Colt Emerson, who was a draft pick of theirs last year and has as much helium as anybody in the 2023 draft class. So that should be really special. And my other one, I have a whole story up of 5 of these, but I'll just give you the top 3, is the Nationals at the Mets on March 15th. We already mentioned the idea of Dylan Cruz and James Wood playing in the same outfield, but throw in Elijah Green, Dalen Lyle, Robert Hassel III, Christian Vaquero, maybe Dalen Lyle's on the roster. We'll see if he's actually going to be participating. He's coming off a lower back issue after diving into the bullpen the other day against the Red Sox, but it sounds like pretty optimistic about him moving forward. It's not as bad as it first looked, which is great. But on the Mets side, the story of the Mets system right now is the trades they made at last year's deadline that brought in prospects. So Luis Angel Acuna is going to be there. Drew Gilbert's going to be there. On the pitching side, they have Blade Tidwell, Brandon Sproat, Dominic Hamill, Tyler Stewart. And I should mention also on the hitting side, their top prospect, Jet Williams, who had a 425 OBP with 45 steals last season. So that could be a really dynamic game. I'm going to be really interested because the Mets thrive more on having upper level arms. Tidwell, Hamill, Stewart, all of those guys have seen Double-A in some manner. Sproat got some really good reports on him earlier in the spring. He was already touching upper 90s. And I kind of expected him to be a little bit ahead because he is a college arm coming out of last year's draft. Normally he'd be pitching in season right now, but still that was really encouraging to hear that about him. So that could be really interesting. And I love the fact that they are matched up, not just because they're kind of close, Nationals play in West Palm Beach. The Mets are in Port St. Lucie, but this is a real NL East clash. We could see all of these guys playing against each other in the NL East moving forward for years and years and years to come. But we're getting a small taste of it here in Spring Breakout, which is exactly the type of thing that Spring Breakout is made for. Some of the other names you might recognize from just big springs, like Tamar Johnson had a 2-homer game a couple weeks ago. He'll be competing for the Pirates in that game against the Orioles for sure. Spencer Jones, who had that 470-foot homer, that was the talk of spring training for a few days. He'll be going up against the Blue Jays for the Yankees, so that's pretty big. I'm just super excited for how this has really come together. I mean, you hear about the concept of this, you think, okay, who is going to participate, who wants to participate? And I've talked to a lot of guys this spring about like what what does this mean to you? Are you looking forward to it? Is it just another game? And guys are like, no, listen, I'm not just excited to play in this game to show who I am. I'm excited to play in this game with my teammates and show who we are as an organization. We're all wearing this one jersey and we're all in it to represent that jersey and show that we are the future of our franchise. And I think that's really cool. And it's guys, we've said this before, from AAA all the way down. I mean, as long as you have prospect eligibility, you can play in this game. So guys who haven't been teammates before are now going to get the chance to do that. Hearing some of the different lineups that could be a possibility. You hear something like with the Tigers, Max Clark, who was the 3rd overall pick last season, could be sharing an outfield with Justice Bigbie, who reached AA last year and was a breakout player in the Tigers system. They're two very different ages, two different experience levels, but they're both outfielders and they're both Tigers prospects, which means they'll be playing in this game. So I'm fascinated to see what happens. Will the guys with more experience dominate? Will it be because it's just one game? Will the loudest tools really come through? I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to see Victor Scott get on the second, get on first base, I should say. And everybody in the stadium is going to know he wants to run because this is a showcase event. And then see him try to steal second base. I mean, that's going to happen. Chandler Simpson, that's going to happen if he gets on first base for the Tampa Bay Rays in the spring breakout game. So you see this every year in the futures game. Guys love to show off their tools because they realize, hey, this is the spotlight on me. I want to show you what I'm capable of. This might be a little bit different because it's happening in spring. You don't want guys throwing 103 just because they can, or overthrowing in this environment. But if you have it in the tank, I mean, Paul Skeens has already been up to 102. Who says he can't get back up there or maybe put in a little bit more because it's just naturally coming to him. These are the best of the best prospects. So I'm super excited that this is out. We'll have more coverage of this, maybe a bigger preview of it next week, or a more specific preview even of it when I'm back with the guys next week. And then, we'll have full coverage of what happened in the breakout 2 weeks from now after the games wrap up on March 17th. But keep your eyes peeled. MILB.com, MLB.com/pipeline, MLB.com in general. There will be beat writers at every game covering this stuff. I'll be at some of the games. I'll even be broadcasting one, and I'll have more information about that next week. But yeah, go check everything out. Like I said, wall-to-wall coverage, so many different angles and ways to perceive this type of thing. And I'm super excited that it's off the ground. So that being said, now that is established and we now know the rosters, like I said earlier, I was in Rays camp earlier today, and I kind of wanted to catch up with somebody who I knew would be playing in the spring breakout game. And that is Xavier Isaac, who is actually our number 58 overall prospect. He was a first-round pick of the Rays in 2022, but was a little bit of a surprise, and we get into that. But just to give you a little bit more background, a lot of people didn't think he was a first-round talent. He was a first baseman. He was quite a big first baseman. He had some power, but didn't play a lot on the showcase circuit, and he'll explain why that was true. So teams didn't really see him. But the Tampa Bay Rays, when they like somebody, they go out and get them, and they have their reasons for liking him. And they decided to take him in the first round, kind of shocked the industry by doing that, signed him to a deal, signed him away from Florida, and brought him in first full season. I mean, their optimism in Xavier Isaac seemed wholly justified. He had 19 homers last year, which, it's not 30 homers from our first baseman, but you got to remember this is a guy who's playing prep ball just a year before and had limited experience due to injury. Reached high A by the end of the year, had 6 homers in 12 games with high A Bowling Green. So he's ticking all the right boxes. Everybody I talked to with the Rays raves about the changes he's made in terms of his physicality. He's more athletic than the day they drafted him, than he was on the day they drafted him. And it seems like he's gonna still be a first baseman, but he's gonna hit as much as you need to be a really, really good first base prospect. So all of that said, here is my conversation with Rays first base prospect Xavier Isaac.
All right, Xavier, thanks so much for doing this. First off, this is your second spring training. What has it been like to be back here and know how this process kind of goes at this point?
Yeah, it's actually like really my first spring training, honestly, seeing the big leagues and the minor leagues together. So it feels good to be back in Port Charlotte, of course. I mean, we were in Orlando last year, just the minor league guys, but I had some fun there. It wasn't like the full experience of spring training, so now I'm really getting the full experience, and I love it. So
yeah, I was going to say, is there any small part of you that misses Disney World?
Yes, I love it. I do miss the area, of course. There ain't really nothing to do around here, but you know, you just got to lock in and just lock into baseball down here, and it's so much better. Facilities are way better down here, and just seeing the big league guys and just seeing the time and see how they, work and stuff. So
yeah, what's something you've picked up from just being around those folks?
Just the mindset, how they need to do what they do to get their stuff done, and just don't do the extra stuff, and just take it day by day, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and you had a very successful first full season moving from Charleston to Bowling Green. What did you take away from getting through that? I mean, so many guys find it difficult to get through a first full season. You were particularly strong at the end, it seemed like.
Yeah. Like I said, I had to struggle. I struggled in my first half a little bit, but the second half I started picking up. Just found that routine and just took it day by day and just started being a tiny bit more aggressive at the plate, and then everything just started working out, and just, like I said, take it day by day, and just everything planned out as well. So
yeah, do you feel like you were being too passive in the first half?
I think so. I was just trying to walk a tiny bit more, not swinging at the pitch that I want pretty much, and just trying to make a good at bat every time instead of just trying to end the at bat there. So
was that a feel thing, or was that something you saw in data? Like, how did that kind of come about?
I think it was a feel thing. I just see myself getting down 0-2 a lot, and I was like, all right, I need to start being a little bit more aggressive on that first or second pitch. So after that, started getting that fastball where I wanted it, and everything's just started playing out.
Yeah, do you remember one specific at bat or one specific game where it was like, oh, everything's clicking now?
Probably in BG, probably Bowling Green when I had a 2-run home run in Bowling Green. I don't remember the day, but it just felt like I couldn't miss a ball. It was just, I love the ballpark. Everything flies out, and it was perfect, man.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because you had 6 homers in 12 games. I mean, that's a crazy run. Was that just something the way they were pitching you, or was just getting hot at the right time at the right level?
I think like I said, I was getting hot at the end. So, yeah. I mean, that has a part of it. But at the same time, I think the pitching is a little bit better and a little bit more around the zone. And I think, the changeups that are a little bit down, I can still get to those balls and not low A guys throwing 100 miles an hour up top of the zone and then just locating one inside on you. So they were really, you can really lock in on the pitcher and know where they're going to throw it, and they're a little bit more precise. And then Bowling Green, I mean, the ball flies there, man. It's just, it's money. So, I mean, everything just worked out where it was. So.
Yeah. And what kind of momentum does that give you going into the offseason? Or does it give you any momentum because now it's the offseason, you're not playing as much?
Oh, a lot of momentum, man. It's just looking forward to next year. I mean, it's like I ended off great, so let's do it again pretty much. So I just knew going into this offseason, just do the same thing, keep working on, what you've been working on. So it's like everything's been going well, so.
Yeah, and I remember talking to some folks with the Rays last spring, and they said they were really impressed by how athletic you were coming into camp. What were you doing to kind of focus on that, coming from the high school ranks where this wasn't your everyday job, to all of a sudden having to really focus on athleticism?
Yeah, I knew coming into my half year how big I was. I couldn't do it for 110 games. So it was that first year off season, just try to get the body right, diet, not focus too much on baseball, and just get the body right. And it worked out, and I knew going into these 110 games is going to be a long year. So it's just, like I said, take it day by day and just stick to your routine, and then it planned out. So
yeah, when you say changing your diet, what's the one thing you dropped that you wish you could add back?
Probably, I don't know. Probably just either junk food or sweets. I'm a big sweet guy. I'm still trying to lay off the sweets, but the diet, I just cut out chips and just stuff like that, like junk food. So it's been doing very well. So
yeah, obviously it worked.
Yeah, it's been working. So.
Nobody from Frito-Lay listened to this conversation. But I want to go back to the draft with you, because you were a first-round pick. Yeah. I think on the day, a lot of people were kind of surprised for you. What was that process like? When did you know the Rays were interested in you that high?
I wasn't. I mean, not till they drafted me, really. Yeah. It was either the Rays or pretty much go to the Florida Gators. So it was, are they going to pick me or not? And I did get hurt my junior year, so they didn't have a lot more information on me. So it was kind of a risky pick, like everybody thinks of. But it pretty much planned out where they wanted it. So, I mean, I knew getting into the draft, it was a win-win situation for me. So.
Yeah, and that was a foot injury you were dealing with?
Yeah, I was a left fibula injury on my ankle. Yeah, I broke it. So.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, broken left foot is going to affect you, but like, what did it change? How did that affect your mindset through the whole process? Because normally guys are showing up at showcases, they're doing all that kind of stuff, and you have to be on the sidelines.
Yeah, I mean, they were calling me to literally 3 days before the tournament. Yo, are you good? Are you good? Like, can you get out here? I was still in a cast at the time. I can't move. Like, it sucks. But I took honestly, it was a little bit depressing, of course, just to see my guys out there playing and I'm not out there. But I also took time off to myself and enjoyed my family. I haven't seen my family in the summer probably a lot, and we just always be traveling. So it felt good to be home, see my family a little bit more, and just honestly just started recovering, trying to get back into the next season for high school. So
yeah, and you were saying it was either the Rays or the Gators. So were the Rays the only team really contacting you before the draft, or?
No, there was a lot more, maybe 10 to 15 teams, not too many, but the Padres were heavy on me. And the Rays were, of course, heavy on me, and the Rays got me first. So
that'll certainly do it.
Yeah.
So when did you know you were going pro? Was it going to be part of the negotiation process, or did you think, like, I'm a first-round pick? That's pretty done and dusted.
It was a negotiation process. It took about literally a week and a half to 2 weeks to get my negotiation done. And I came down here a little bit late and seen the draft classes already, hitting live ABs and getting into stuff. So, I mean, it took a little bit of time. Like I said, it was a win-win situation, and they ended up paying me. So
yeah, no, that works. And what was your welcome to pro ball moment, you think?
Welcome to pro ball, man. I mean, I feel like I had a lot of those in the first half. Honestly, probably breaking. I think I broke maybe 6 bats in a week or something crazy. So I think that week was like, all right, welcome to pro ball. Like,
and you have to pay for these now too.
Yeah, so exactly. So you have no deal, so you need to get your bat. So I ended up having to use some clubby wood. Ended up hitting a home run, and then everything just started going. So.
There you go. Yeah, and given everything that happened last year, how do you feel like, not your reputation in the game, but like, do you feel like there's more attention being paid to you, and like, just how have things changed on that end?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's a little bit more attention on me. I was a first rounder. Nobody really knew me. Now I have had a great season, and now I'm a number 1 prospect into first baseman. So it's, of course, a little bit more pressure. I mean, no pressure. I don't feel any pressure to me. I'm just keep saying day by day and keep playing day by day. So it's like the pressure might be there, but I don't feel it.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, fair enough. And there's a cool event coming up, the Spring Breakout game that you're going to be featured in. What are you looking forward to about that and going against the Twins?
Oh, I mean, not going against the Twins. Honestly, just playing with my guys.
Yeah, sure.
Literally, like, playing with the best prospects in our organization is going to be very fun, and that's what I'm very looking forward to. Honestly, just having fun playing the Twins. Of course, they're going to be very competitive, very good too. So it's, I mean, I feel like the concept that they made was a good concept. So.
Yeah, nice. And just the infield, I feel like, is so loaded for you guys. And you, as a first baseman, you get a front row seat to that. How good of a defender is Carson Williams?
Oh, I mean, it's literally money on the chest it's on the dot every time, pretty much. To the chest every time, no matter where it is. Backhand, slow roller. I mean, it's honestly very, very impressive. I don't understand how he does it so easy. So, I mean, I love when he's at shortstop because I don't have to make any, bad, or I don't have to do any picks or anything crazy. So I know it's a guaranteed out for him once it goes to shortstop. So.
Anybody else you're playing in that game with that you're looking forward to, like you haven't played with at Charleston or BG yet?
I played with Trey Morgan a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Trey Morgan's my guy, but I only played with him maybe a week or two in Charleston, but I'm looking forward to playing with him. Chandler Simpson's, of course, my guy.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I've always loved playing with him, always seeing him run. That's probably my favorite part of this, just to see him run, literally, in the game. So it's a lot. I mean, the whole line of 1 through 9, I know we're going to be loaded, so.
Yeah, and that kind of makes me think, like, if you were on first base, Chandler Simpson's on first base with you, you know he's going to go.
Yeah.
What kind of chatter do you have as a first baseman when you got, especially a fast guy?
Yeah, I'd literally just be like, hey, don't steal, please. We don't need you at second, so you just stay over here with me. But they end up taking off every time, so it's not my fault, but I try, coach. So.
What is your approach to that? The fact that, there's so many first basemen who are chatty types, like Freddie Freeman or like Sean Casey. Or are you trying to build relationships that way?
100%. Any communication I can. I mean, to shoes, to on and off the field. I mean, it doesn't matter. You just want to build that connection and try to be a good guy and pretty much spread the love around. I mean, it's just baseball's fun. Everybody's out here to do good themselves and for their team, and somebody's going to win or lose, and it's not because of you. It's a team sport. So it's like I'm over there always chattering, having fun. I mean, if you're not having fun, what are you doing out here? So.
Right. Yeah, no, totally. And when you look forward to 2024, are you somebody who sets goals, specific goals, like amount of homers, or you want to end the year at a specific place? How do you approach that?
Yeah, I have specific goals. It's just personal goals in mind, of course, and I think I'm able to do them. Not challenge myself too much to try to go do something, because if you challenge yourself too much, I feel like you try to overdo it, and then that's when everything just starts to go wrong. So I'm saying just literally my goal this year is try to hit a consistent ball to left center, home run every time. And it's everything else. That's pretty much it. And I know my power will play, the contact will play, and the hitting will play. So it's just an approach. It's nothing really, no goal, no stats, nothing, because the stats are going to play out how they are, and you can't change them. So I just play, at bat by at bat. So it's day by day.
Yeah, why left center in particular? You feel like you're best when you're trying to go back up the middle?
Yeah. You just want to stay up the middle. And once you start to feel like you're pulling everything, that's when everything starts to go wrong, and change-ups outside start to, leak out, and you start to be out in front. So it's try to pretty much just stay back and hit the ball literally left center every time, center field every time. And then sliders would play out. So.
Yeah, totally. All right. We interrupt this podcast to bring you another thrilling edition of Ghosts of the Miners. Now, here's your correspondent and host, Joshua Jackson.
Welcome back to Ghosts of the Miners, in which all of you out there in Radio Land must identify the legitimate historical ball club or player hiding amidst the fraudulent pair. One once played in fields of green. The others could only be found in fields of delusion. In the last segment, I asked you which of the following minor league baseball players did at one time exist. A. Hans Soler. B. Prince Leiter. C. Elmer Yoder. Wise are you if you pick C, Elmer Yoder. You ought to know Yoder could have been a major player, and in fact he did get into big league action in 36 games across 4 seasons with the Philadelphia and Cleveland American League teams and the Chicago National League team. But it was on minor league teams that Yoder exhibited Jedi-like qualities. He entered pro ball in the first year of the Warren G. Harding administration and kept playing until the 10th year of the Franklin Delano Roosevelt administration. He remained the minor league manager straight through the first year of the John F. Kennedy administration. Yes, Yoder was a baseball lifer. He never let a day go by without thinking about the game. He is also the subject of an excellent entry by Chris Rainey in the Sabre Baseball Biography Project, which describes him as a member of the Pennsylvania Dutch community who, in the off-seasons throughout his baseball career, worked as a butcher. Discovered as an undersized shortstop with speed, playing for a Pittsburgh area industrial team, Yoder spent the winter of 1920-21 in a league far, far away, the Canal Zone League in Panama. He signed with the Philadelphia Athletics upon his return, playing in 3 big league games that year, but spending the vast majority of the next 3 seasons in the Virginia League. Over the rest of the decade, Elmer stuck around the American Association with 1 season in the Michigan-Ontario League, a 19-game stint in the American League with Cleveland, and a couple brief spells in the National League with the Cubs. By 1933, Yoder had 12 seasons of pro ball under his belt, making him veritable minors royalty, so it only made sense that he was to become a leader of Barons, specifically the Wilkes-Barre Barons. Branch Rickey, who'd soon be immortalized through his act of signing Jackie Robinson to the Brooklyn Dodgers, was at the time several years into revolutionizing the world of player development as general manager of the Cardinals. It was on his recommendation that Yoder was hired to helm that Wilkes-Barre club in the New York Penn League. And Yoder was such a good fit at the position that he remained a minor league manager for 20 seasons to come. Rainey's Saber bio of Yoder, though, points out that there were at least a couple of players who did not develop so well under Yoder. Unless you're a fish, it's hard enough to breathe under Yoder, so it's understandable that developing would be a challenge. But apparently, when managing the Danville Schoolfield Leafs in the early 40s, Elmer gummed up the works by telling future American League MVP, four-time All-Star and World Series champion Al Rosen, "You'll never make a ball player. Go home and forget baseball." Yoder should have been nicer and better than that, and no doubt he sometimes was. He kept managing right through 1962 and died a few years later. And that's how Yoder was a force in the game. Now, on to the question for next time. Which of these teams put up their dukes in the minors of yesteryear? A. The Manassas Punch Bugs. B. The Mansfield Haymakers. C. The Lenox Knockouts. Want to know the answer? Throw a hook. Or tune into the next Ghosts of the Minors. But for now, you'll have to excuse me. My producer Ben Hill is thinking about renewing his fishing license, and I've got to reel him in.
Final segment, we think, of this week's episode of the show before the show, depending on if my internet connection holds out. Remember, like, when you and I were kids, and, like, if you could get, like, one interrupted 10-minute stretch on the internet, that was, like, a miracle. And now my internet dies while recording things. You know, I'm watching live, real-time video of you from 2,000 miles away, and the internet's dying, and I'm like, this stupid internet is ridiculous. It's kind of amazing how far we've come.
It is, but we'll always find a way to complain and not take
Absolutely.
it for granted. That is the key aspect of human nature, and I'm right there with you. This has been an agonizing behind-the-scenes recording of this episode, but hopefully it will not show in the final product, because we're all professionals, and it's still fun. It's still fun to talk about minor league baseball each and every week.
Let's say that. It's also, you know, I don't know if podcasts are governed by the FCC, but I would imagine the amount of profanity that I was throwing out, we can't air that. So we got to keep that stuff under wraps.
Yeah, there was that George Carlin routine about, you know, the 7 dirty words or the 7 words you can't say. Tyler said all 7 of those, and then by a factor of 7, you know, probably 49 words you can't say.
I was inventing new ones.
Yeah, there was some interesting portmanteaus going on.
It was amazing. All right, Ben. Well, before we get out of here, we have a new tradition on the Show Before the Show podcast, and that is Benjamin Hill digs up a baseball player of his liking and interest. And ordinarily, I and another guy on the show would be trying to guess who that is. Now, since the other guy's a quitter and isn't around this week, it's just me. So let's have it.
Yeah, and I chose this one, admittedly more obscure than usual, but one with just you in mind, Tyler, since Sam is not a part of this.
Oh, okay.
One I thought that might be adhere to your interests. So, and I'm sorry for anyone listening. This is going to be more obscure, but bear with me. We'll do it quickly. This is a man whose professional career lasted the entirety of the 90s.
Okay.
Drafted in 1990 by the Minnesota Twins and played through the 1999 season, not all with the Twins. He started off in Kenosha in the Midwest League. That team went and became the Fort Wayne Wizards in 1993. But 1990, Kenosha Twins. 1991, Visalia Oaks. 1992, Orlando Sunrays.
Interesting. The Orlando team was named the Sunrays, and then later on they became a Tampa Bay Devil Rays affiliate.
Right, but the Sunrays name was when they were a Twins affiliate, and they were never called the Sunrays when they were a Rays affiliate. I learned that today, and I'm glad you picked up on that right away. But then, following the 1992 season, after that season with the Orlando Sunrays, this individual was selected in the 1992 expansion draft.
Oh, man.
And spent 1993 through 1997 in the Colorado Rockies organization, essentially going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth between the Rockies and AAA Colorado Springs. His last major league appearance was 1996. 1997 was all Colorado Springs. Then he went back to the Twins organization in 98, played for Salt Lake. They were known as the Buzz or the Stingers then. They were a Twins affiliate. the Buzz. Then he went to the Reds organization to end his career with Indianapolis and Chattanooga. He also then managed in the Reds organization in the early 2000s, mostly with those same Chattanooga Lookouts. But for you, Tyler, 1993 through 1996 in the major leagues, Colorado Rocky, chosen in the expansion draft.
Was this a position player or a pitcher?
It was a position player.
Oh, okay. Then my first guess of Brian Ricard is not correct. Is he a catcher? Is this gentleman a catcher?
He is a catcher.
Is his name, I swear to you, I did not look this up. Is his name Jayhawk Owens?
You are correct.
Yes!
Jayhawk Owens.
Amazing. That is amazing. Oh, I am so proud that I got that. Wow. Yeah, that's a name that not many people are gonna remember that name, Jayhawk Owens. Wow. Let's look up some fun facts about Jayhawk Owens.
Yeah, I figured you would remember him just because, obscure or not, he was a member of those original Rocky squads.
Yes. I know for a fact that I have one, if not multiple, Jayhawk Owens cards in this very room in which I'm sitting right now. He played 33 games in the inaugural season, hit 209 with a 649 OPS. He was part of the Rockies wild card team in 1995, the first ever National League wild card. And he OPS'd 841, but it was only 18 games. And then he played 73 games the following year with an OPS of 705. I did not realize that it was such a brief burst of light for Jayhawk Owens. He didn't even play a full major league season among his four. He only played in 130 games.
Yeah, he never played more than never more than 73 games in a season, which was in 1996, the last season he played in the major leagues. And, the Jayhawk is an interesting first name. I saw this on Wikipedia, but he is of Native American descent. His grandfather on his father's side was Cherokee.
Interesting.
So
his
the Jayhawk name,
according to Baseball Reference, his full name is Claude Jayhawk Owens. And yeah, wow. He was drafted 2 times. First by the Boston Red Sox out of high school in the 25th round in 1987, and then has been noted by the Twins in 1990 in the second round out of Middle Tennessee State. Jayhawk Owens. Wow. That was a good one. I like that one. That very much is like only I and like my childhood best friend Travis would be able to get that one.
Yeah, that was a just for Tyler Mon edition of this yet to be named quiz show we do at the end of every episode. It was like last month I came across him when I was just looking for something else, and I just saw the name Jayhawk Owens. I was like, that's an interesting name, and saw he was a Rocky, so I kind of had it in my back pocket, like, I've got to do something with Tyler about Jayhawk Owens one of these days. And finally, with Sam gone, that day came, and we're all the better for it.
That is fantastic. I'm very happy about it. And kudos to you, Jayhawk Owens, wherever you are. Hope you're living a very happy post-baseball life these days. And that'll do it for this week's episode of the show before the show. Next week, Bruce Springsteen swings by. And Ben, thanks for the tip. We'll catch you next time on the Show Before the Show podcast from MILB.